What is going on, guys? In today's video I will show you the best fighter build in Avowed. This setup's main focus is to scale Ignite from our attacks and target big enemy groups to then set them on fire and explode. One of the most powerful skills that we have in our arsenal is the critical strike, clear out and the charge, which I'll do incredible amount of single target damage with no element penalty but have a bit of a cooldown. So the fire effect makes the most out of this, by effectively extending the damage of these hits many times over, in order to kill big targets like tanky rare monsters and many more. In this guide I will show you the best abilities, the skill tree, full gear, even what weapon and companion should you use and much more. So first up, let's move over to the background. The War Hero, in my opinion, is the best background for a fighter build, as it provides a strong foundation for key physical attributes. Background plays a pivotal role in shaping your role-playing experience. It will affect your dialogue options and determine your starting weapon during the tutorial. Your initial allocation of attribute points across the 6 stats is also influenced. However, they do not restrict your access to any equipment or abilities as the game progresses. And regardless of your background, you can use any equipment and ability that you want. Next we have attributes, and this will play another big role in your build as they will enhance our melee combat powers and survivability. The key attributes for our build is Might, Constitution and Resolve. You also want to allocate the most points on the Might to increase physical damage output, which is very crucial for maximizing melee attack effectiveness. Then Constitution attribute will allow you to enhance health and resilience, allowing fighters to deal additional damage in combat. Then focusing on Resolve will allow us to boost maximum stamina and improve recovery from near-death experiences. And then finally, Dexterity is just our backup stat, because you don't really need fast attacks in combat. Several good totems can also provide attribute enhancements, and you will gain attribute points when you progress and gain experience as your character levels up. Next up we have our skills, and the Shield Bash, Clear Out and Into the Fray are the best skills for our fighter build. The Clear Out is an active skill within the fighter class that allows your character to perform a powerful spinning attack. It allows you to attack all nearby enemies with your equipped melee weapon. This ability will enable you to control crowds and deal substantial AoE damage. Then Into Fray is another active ability that allows you to control the battlefield by pulling enemies towards you. This skill is useful for engaging distant targets or just to focus one target from a group of enemies. Then the Shield Bash will allow you to interrupt enemy attacks, and it will prevent them from executing their abilities or combos. Overall, these skills will offer the perfect balance between defense and offense in particular fights. So first up we got the Critical Strike. This will enhance your character's chance to land critical hits. At rank 2 it will increase critical hit chance by an additional 15%. Then second we got the Charge. This skill is essential for reaching targets out of range, but you don't want to spam this ability as it will drain your essence very fast. Next we have Survivalist. This provides you the ability to cook at a camp and create a bunch of overpowered consumables. And once you get rank 2, you can make food that surpasses the need for potions, which increases your survivability even more. Next we got Clear Out. It not only does 3 rotations, but also knocks down targets as well. We want to upgrade it to the maximum capability to make it even more effective in the game. And then finally we're using Into the Fray. This will reach forward, taunt an enemy and pull them towards you. And at rank 2 it increases the range onto the fray by 66%. So let's quickly take a look at our skill tree for each level. The most important skills at low levels are the Charge, Shield Bash, Steady Aim and Survivalist. So we invest skill points to gain the skills that can keep you alive in the initial stage of the game. Passive skills will be used to increase damage or survivability, while active skills will require essence and you won't be able to use them right away because of their cost. Then in the mid-levels you want to ensure to increase your damage potential, so choose the skills that enhance AoE damage, allowing you to dominate the enemies coming in your path. Skills like the Retribution rank 2 will allow you to deal 100% of the original damage that you received. A Flurry of Blows at rank 1 will also allow you to gain maximum speed and stamina regeneration, allowing for more flexibility to your character. And then finally from level 21 and up you want to increase AoE damage potential with Clear Out. At this stage we can even use a two-handed or a one-handed weapon and have great survivability and damage at the same time. And also don't forget that you need to take 3 points into the Survivalist skill tree, which is in the Ranger category, because once unlocked you can then craft advanced food and buffs that drastically increase your survivability, damage and regeneration. Next we have our gear. The best thing about equipment is that this is not required for our build to work. However, if you can get these specific items, then you will only become more powerful as of the result. So for armor, we're using the Berserker scale, which gives us 25% damage and 50% critical hit damage, while below 30% maximum health. Then for gloves, we got the Migrant's Force, that gives us plus 15% fire damage. Then for shoes, we're using the Sojourn Boots, for plus 40 maximum stamina. Then for trinket, we got the Cartograph's Companion, which gives us plus 1 dexterity and plus 2 perception. And then for our first ring, we're using the Chitin Band, that gives us minus 5% damage from the beast. While on the second one, we got the Sigil of the Arcane, that gives us plus 20% ability cast speed and minus 20% ability essence cost. And then as far as weapons go, the main weapon for our firefighter build is the Last Light of Day, which gives us additional 10% bonus fire damage. And for offhand, we can use a second weapon or a shield. I prefer to use a shield for more defense, but this is up to you. But if you choose the dual sword route, then my recommendation is just to go with the exceptional sword, that deals massive damage and enemies high armor takes 30% less damage. And then finally, for our second weapon, here you can pick whatever you want. For our fighter, I personally like to go with the musket or the bow, but both are viable options and will work great together for aggroing monsters, and just in some situations you need that little bit of range damage. However, as you can tell, most of our fighting will happen in melee range, and we will just want to smash through enemies in close quarters. Then for one of the last things we have is the consumables. In my opinion, the Kraken Horn is the best consumable that provides a fixed amount of both health and essence regeneration, and additional effects that last for 300 seconds. The Skin Boon is also an option, which is a mushroom that provides health and essence regeneration. And then finally, the Grog cleanses negative effects and is also useful in powerful potions and recipes. Next we have companions. In my opinion, the Gaiata and Marius are the best companions for the fighter build, because Gaiata can heal while Marius can root, discover treasure and burst single targets. Each one of these companions will bring unique abilities and backgrounds to your journey. Gaiata will join your party during the main story quest, the Animancy method, while Marius will become available after progressing through the main story quest called the Untimely End. So with this combo, we want to create a balanced and formidable party by including the Gaiata's support and healing skills with Marius' offensive and tactical power. We use Gaiata Barrier to provide protective shields to allies, and Marius' Heartseeker ability to increase damage dealt to low health enemies. The Gaiata Acceleration skill can increase movement and attack speed, while Marius' Wounding Shot can deal damage over time to enemies. And now finally, let's quickly go over the general gameplay and tips and tricks that will help you in your combat as the fighter. So like I mentioned, we will use companions like Gaiata and Marius to complement our build. Gaiata will provide healing and support spells, while Marius will offer ranged attacks and crowd control. For our main character, we will use skills like the Charge, Shield Bash and Clear Out to deal massive damage while also increasing defense for our character. Mastering the main combat techniques like the parry, dodge and perfect block are essential to enhance your combat effectiveness. You will also want to combine your fighter skills with the range skills for a multi-class playstyle. On top of this, we can even use grenades to deal damage over time. The main idea behind our build is just to set enemies on fire. So then when we start our fights, we want to hit as many enemies as possible, so then all of them would start burning, while then in the meantime we focus on one enemy at a time and just quickly burst them down. Then if we ever get overwhelmed by ranged enemies, then we want to either way run quickly behind the cover or just to use a shield while we wait for the enemies to reach us. And finally, if you really can't fight hard enemies, then the last option is just to find a high ground and then switch to our second ranged weapon, so then we could use arrows and grenades to destroy enemies slowly. So let me know what you think about this build in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, then you definitely don't want to miss my previous Avowed class tier list, in which I ranked the best classes and builds in the game, so click the screen now and I'll see you in the next one.